Welcome everyone to our August Ordinary Council meeting. It's Friday, the 22nd of August. Today we have councillors present, myself, Robert Trepp, President, Councillor Nadine McMorrin, Deputy President, Councillor Wayne Alsop, Councillor Daryl Hudson, Councillors Metcalfe and Sewell are both apologies, and Councillor Bev Ward. Staff, we have our CEO, Mrs. Manisha Barthakar, our Manager of Governance and Community Services, Ms. Carly Rose, and our Manager of Corporate Services, Mr. Solomon Wale. So, as I said, two apologies from Councillor Sewell and Councillor Metcalfe, and also an apology from our Manager of Infrastructure and Projects, Mr. Ben Forbes. There were no leaves of absence for this meeting. There are no members of the public here to ask any questions. So the first item of business is disclosures of interest. Do any councillors have anything proximity? No. However, we do have one staff member. Manisha has put in her declaration for item 12.6, appointment of acting CEO. Do any councillors wish to apply for leave of absence for September or October? No. There being no petitions or presentations, we move on to the confirmation of the minutes of the previous meetings, of which last month and a few days ago. Last month we had an ordinary council meeting held on the 22nd of July, details in attachment 7.1a, and we had a special council meeting 10 days ago in order to ratify our budget with a few other items, ancillary items, detailed in attachment 7.2a. So I trust we've all had a look at those minutes. The recommendation is that by simple majority pursuant to sections 5222 and 3.18 of the Local Government Act 1995, the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held 22nd of July 2025 as presented in attachment 7.1a, and the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 12th of August 2025 as presented in attachment 7.2a be confirmed as a true and correct record of proceedings. Who'd like to move that one, please? Councillor Ward, and seconded Councillor McMorrin by show of hands. I think that makes us 5 today, 5-0, carried. In the interim period, there were no committee meetings, so therefore no minutes to be received and no recommendations from committee meetings. Moving on to item 10, announcements by myself without discussion. I'm not sure I mentioned it in the previous meeting, but we actually had Regional Development Australia come up to the Shire and hold a training workshop on the 5th of August, which was received. We learned quite a bit from that, and also I myself attended the Great Eastern Council Zone meeting, which was held in Calabarin on the 18th of August. One takeaway from that was the requirement for the Shire to have probably need some help here, a local health plan, which the deadline, yeah.
Local health plan that needs to be reviewed as a part of our integrated planning as well, and regular governance requirements.
I think the deadline's next year anyway, so yeah. The other good piece of news is our friend Tony Brown, who we all know from his time at Walga, has been announced as the first local government inspector. So he'll be commencing his duties in October, I believe. So it'll be good to have a friendly come up and inspect us if we need such a thing. Okay, moving on to list of accounts paid. Attachment 11.1a, July 5 list of accounts paid, and I believe there was also an attachment 11.1b, which came out as a separate item detailing the credit card statements. I trust that we've reviewed those. In fact, we reviewed them in a prior agenda briefing meeting, and all seemed in order. Any questions were answered to the satisfaction of the councillors present. So the recommendation 11.1, the council by simple majority pursuant to section 6.81A of the Local Government Act 1995 and regulation 12 and 13 of the Local Government Financial Management Regulations 1996, receives the report from the CEO on exercise of delegated authority in relation to creditor payments from the Shire of Dowerin Muni Fund as presented in attachment 11.1A and as detailed below. So there's a summary table there, EFTs, and I've checked the prior EFT numbers as we have to do to check the last EFT. There's no gap in the EFTs. EFTs total 192, all up, adds up to a grand total of 425,848.40, which by my interpretation is a fairly light on month for the start of the new financial year. Who would like to move that motion, please?
I'll move, Mr. President.
Councillor Hudson, someone to second? Councillor Alsop, by show of hands, all those in favour? 5-0, carried. Right, the next item is a governance and compliance, ticking the box. Every 5 years, we have to review our Disability Access and Inclusion Plan. According to the Disability Services Act 1993, we actually slipped a little bit because our last plan expired in 2023, and our staff has reviewed it through May and June this year. They've evaluated our progress on the last plan, and I can happily say that we did achieve several positive outcomes. We upgraded some of the town lighting. We refurbished several ACROD parking bays and renewed the signage for them. We improved directional signage around town. We updated the customer service charter and held staff training, and right close to home in the Shire office here, we refurbished the ablutions to allow disability access. So that was a good thing to see. However, the new plan, maybe you would like to speak to that, Manisha, the inclusions in the new plan?
Sure. So we include a staged approach to facility upgrades, of course, prioritising the high-use sites. And we are doing consistent review of our planning checklist to incorporate accessibility and disability considerations. We would be also expanding the use of digital and face-to-face engagement methods to reach people with varying access needs, and CRC plays a quite critical role on this. We also are looking into annual staff disability awareness and inclusion training, and also mentoring and reporting through the Shire's annual report and submission of progress reports to the Department of Communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha. So moving straight on to the recommendation 12.1, Council by simple majority in accordance with section 5.2 of the Local Government Act 1995 and the requirements of Part 5 of the Disability Services Act 1993 and Regulation 10 of the Disability Services Regulation 2004, 1. Adopts the Shire of Dowerin Disability Access and Inclusion Plan for the years 2025 through 2030 as presented in attachment 12.1A, and 2. Authorises the CEO to submit the adopted plan to the Department of Communities Disability Services in accordance with the requirements of Disability Services Act 1993. Pretty straightforward. Who wants to move that one, please? Councillor Ward, and seconded Councillor McMorrin. By show of hands, all those in favour? 5-0 again, carried. Okay, this next item, again, another governance and compliance item. We undertook a review of the terms of reference for the Shire's various committees. We have several committees, the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee, the Asset and Works Committee, the Bushfire Advisory Committee, and the Local Emergency Management Committee. As before you in the agenda, to summarise the changes to the terms of reference made, but I'll just highlight with the Audit and Risk Improvement Committee, we had to have an independent person as the presiding member, so I actually had to step aside for that one. The Asset and Works Committee clarified the committee's purpose, updated the membership to reflect our current organisational structure. Bushfire Advisory Committee, similar updates to bring everything into line, clarified advisory functions, including fire break layouts, coordination of brigades, etc. And finally, the Local Emergency Management Committee defined its purpose, objectives, membership and functions, noting that the meeting frequency was a minimum quarterly for that one. So those were detailed in attachments 12.2A through D. Just being notified of a correction there in the agenda. Item 2 is misprinted. It's actually the Asset and Works Committee as per the acronym. So I'll read the corrected resolution 12.2. That Council, by a simple majority, adopts the reviewed terms of reference for the following committees as presented in attachments 12.2A through D. 1, the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee. 2, the Asset and Works Committee. 3, the Bushfire Advisory Committee. And 4, the Local Emergency Management Committee. Who would like to move that motion, please?
President.
Councillor Hudson, and a seconder, Councillor Alsop. All those in favour? 5-0, carried. Again, another governance and compliance item. This one's to do with authorisations register. I don't believe we actually had a authorisations register before it became apparent, and our CEO has engaged a governance assistant or consultant, and this item, what's the word I'm looking for, became apparent. It's straightforward. Yes, I'll invite our CEO to comment further on that one.
Thank you, Mr. President. So although we have a delegation register and understanding of the administrative functions, it's always a good practice to have an authorization register, which clearly identifies any executive managers or senior managers performing certain duties. And also there has been a lot of inclusion and bifurcations of duties based on the delegation register as well as the Local Government Act. And this method of having an authorization register always helps, especially when it comes to decision making in presence or absence of the CEO, and it clarifies the decision making responsibility between the council and CEO as well as the delegated authorities. So it is, I believe, it is going to be a really effective and efficient way of performing a lot of our duties.
Thank you, Manisha. This is quite a long resolution, but I will read it out. Resolution 12.3, The council, by absolute majority in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995 and relevant enabling legislation, adopts the council relevant components of the Shire of Dowerin Registry Authorisation as presented in attachment 12.3A, being item 1, the Criminal Code, person in control of local government property; 2, the Environmental Protection Act, referral of proposals; 3, Environmental Protection Act authorisation; 4, Equal Opportunity Employment Management Plans; 5, Gaming and Wagering Commission Act authorised persons; 6, the Liquor Control Act, certificates, licences, extended trading permits; 7, Litter Act, authorised officers, withdrawal of infringement notices; 8, the Local Government Act, public statements on behalf of local government; 9, Code of Conduct, complaints officers, Division 3, and Rates and Charges, Rebates and Deferments Act, review and determination officers; finally, Department of Local Government, Sport and Cultural Industries as required. It's quite comprehensive. Who would like to move that one?
Mr. President, notice 3.5.2 is changed, so it becomes the Cats of Dowerin and not the Cats of Minningu. I'd be happy to move it.
Yep, I'll invite you to talk to it. Do we have a seconder?
I'm happy to second.
Councillor McMorrin, would any of you like to make a comment on that recommendation?
Happy with how it's written now.
Yep. Thank you, Councillor Hudson. Anybody wish to further comment? I'll put it straight to the vote. All those in favour? 5-0, carried. Our governance and compliance officer certainly earned money this council meeting. And yet another compliance item. This one's to do with a new a revision of policy regarding community funding. When people approach the Shire for small grants, this policy has been revised to remove any ambiguities. Do you wish to speak further on that one? No?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
of course, historically, we have always had ad hoc requests from our community members for any form of financial assistance. We did discuss in past council workshops about having a community chest fund, but the feedback was as a whole from the council that we have got the field days to look after those kind of big projects. But when it comes to really small community donation contribution or any form of financial assistance, we really don't have any standardized mechanism to, as a part of decision making tool, whether we should or shouldn't accept those sort of requests. Therefore, having a community funding policy will always help. It's not much. Under the delegated authority, again, it's only up to $1,000. Anything beyond that should come to the council. That's it.
Thank you, Manisha. So straight to the recommendation 12.4, the council by a simple majority in accordance with section 272B of the Local Government Act 1995 adopts policy 1.21 community funding policy as presented in attachment 12.4A. Once again, who would like to move that one? Councillor Alsop and seconded Councillor Ward. All those in favour? 5-0. Thank you. Carried. Right, the next one again, governance and compliance item, senior employees and acting CEO policy. This one arose because at the end of the year, our CEO is taking a well-earned holiday, and when reviewing the existing policy, it was not clear enough as to whether senior employees could take the position and the actual requirements and time periods. So this has cleaned up the policy and made it very specific and clear cut. Would like to comment further on that, Manisha?
So like the President has mentioned, our previous policy did not address situations where senior employees are available or suitable or not available. It also did not consider any external contracting of acting CEOs. It also did not have proper timelines for mandatory appointments or when and how council notification in sudden or extended absence scenarios are considered. So clearly the updated policy addresses all these gaps, including any external acting CEO's position filling or even internal. Since we have a quite standard executive manager type hierarchy, it is best to give options and turns to every managers when time comes. However, for this financial year, due to the workload as well as a quite new management team, it is best we actually assign the acting CEO position to an external contractor during the period of my leave, which is only for 13 days really. So yeah, this policy again is a bit more gap filler and will be efficient. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha. I'd just like to comment that it's becoming quite evident that the T's are being crossed and the I's dotted, and our policies are becoming a lot more bulletproof. So well done. So the recommendation 12.5, that council by a simple majority 1 adopts the updated policy 2.6 senior employees and acting CEO policy as per attachment 12.5A, incorporating the amendments marked in the attachment 12.5A, and 2, notes that all future acting CEO appointments will be managed in accordance with the updated policy. Quite straightforward. Who wants to move that one, please?
Happy to.
Councillor McMorrin and Councillor Hudson seconds it. Would any of you like to comment on that?
I'm happy how it's written.
Happy? All right, all those in favour? 5-0 carried. And as just indicated, the flow on from that is to appoint an acting CEO when our existing CEO takes leave in December. We've explored 2 options, an independent consultant who has been quoted at $7,500 per week plus accommodation, and option B is to use 150 Square Consulting, Mr. Darren Molyneux, who is actually known to our CEO because I believe he used to be the CEO of Bruce Rock in Manisha's previous employment and has a good recommendation. He's 27 years experience in local government. So that's the disclosure that Manisha has already made. Option B offers the best value in terms of governance, continuity and organisational insight. The total cost of the 14-day period, I believe. Sorry?
13-day period.
13 days. $11,888. We have budgeted for that in our budget most recently. And they will, the acting CEO will stay at the CEO's residence or the short stay. Moving on to the recommendation 12.6, the council by absolute majority in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995, 1, appoints Mr. Darren Molyneux from 150 Square Consulting as acting Chief Executive Officer for the period of the CEO's approved leave from 5th of December 2025 to the 24th of December 2025. 2, authorises the CEO and Shire President to finalise and execute the engagement agreement, including reasonable accommodation arrangements as outlined in attachment 12.6A. 3, notes the CEO's disclosure of a previous professional reporting relationship with the recommended candidate. Who would like to move that one, please? Councillor Hudson and a seconder, Councillor Ward. Would either of you like to comment on that?
Just to reiterate your words, move this motion because it's the best value and Darren's well known to us, so it'll be a good outcome.
Thank you. Councillor Ward?
No, I'm very happy, thank you. Yeah.
Right. All those in favour? 5-0 carried. The next one is about the WALGA convention, which is coming up next month. The Shire of Dowerin typically sent members every other year, and this year we're due. We have to budget for, see what I'm looking for, the worst case scenario. It turns out that most councillors who will be attending will probably find their own accommodation while in Perth. So the impact on the ratepayer will be less than the total stated in the agenda. The total cost per candidate is estimated at $28.50, but like I'm saying, the accommodation will most likely be knocked off that. So through previous agreement, we've agreed that the CEO, the Shire President and the Deputy President be registered to attend. So moving straight to the recommendation, that by a simple majority, Councillors Trepp, McMorrin and the CEO be registered to attend the 2025 Walga Local Government Convention. I believe it's to be held at the Convention Centre again this year. 2, Councillors Trepp and the CEO be registered as voting delegates for the Walga Annual General Meeting, which will be held on the first day of the convention, I believe. Rightio. Who wants to move that?
I'll move that, Mr. President.
Councillor Alsop, and seconded Councillor Hudson. Would either of you like to comment? No?
No comment, thank you.
No. All those in favour? 5-0, carried. The next item is unfortunately a very small oversight from our last special council meeting. The instalment dates for the 4th option, where you have 4 instalments, was incorrectly calculated as the 27th of March 2026, when in fact it should be 4 days later, the 31st of March. But in order to, again, keep everything 100% correct, we have decided to amend that motion with this replacement motion being Resolution 12.8, that Council by absolute majority amends point 4 of Resolution CM Ref 1155 from the 12th of August ordinary council meeting. Was it ordinary council meeting or special? It was a special council meeting, so that can be corrected to read as follows. Again, the 4 instalment option, the first three instalment dates are correct. The revision is to the 4th instalment due date, now being the 31st of March 2026. All other parts of the resolution remain unchanged. Who wants to move that one, please? Councillor Ward, and seconded Councillor Alsop. Pretty straightforward. Do either of you want to say anything? No. All those in favour? 5-0, carried. We don't have any officers' reports, and I don't have any urgent. Yeah, that's coming up, late item 14.1. I'm just going through the others. Urgent business, I don't have any urgent business. We do, however, have a late item, which is item 14.1. The previous development application made by CBH has changed slightly. It was at the time thought it was deemed a minor variation. However, upon review, it is deemed not minor and requires a new development application. And as you'll see, there's 2 drawings there, the before and after. Basically the 2 bulkheads are going to be shifted from the left column of bulkheads into the middle position. CBH have provided a revised application with the correct position as detailed in the diagrams provided. So I'll move straight on to the, otherwise there's no substantial change between this development application and the previous one. So moving straight on to the recommendation 14.1, that by simple majority, Council 1 approves the development application 2025-5 amendment development application to amend the site drawing number 361 ENG CI DCO 0025 to the site drawing same thing 0026 for the purpose to change the position for the 2 open storage bulkheads, associated vehicle access and general drainage being the open drains, culverts and drainage basin on lot 25 Irvine Road, Dowerin CBH Group Terminal. 2, authorises the CEO to duly endorse the presented documents and to make the written record that the site drawing 0026 now supersedes this amendment for the former site drawing 0025, and to advise that the conditions and advice notes of Council Resolution 1143 remain binding in full for the works and uses associated with the amended site drawing 0026. Who wants to move that one? Councillor Alsop and Councillor Hudson seconds it. Do either of you wish to make a comment on that?
No, thank you.
All those in favour? 5-0 carried. We have no elected members' motions and no matters for behind closed doors. Promised we'd be finished by 4:30. Not quite. 4:31, I declare the meeting closed and thank everyone for attending.